We were treated to a very entertaining curtain raiser at the Hive. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. It's Leinster who have the first sustained period on attack in this one. Good line speed in defence forces a poor cross kick from Edinburgh. They're looking sharper than they did at this stage last year. Still not up to full speed, but never really expect any team to really hit their straps in the first round with no errors. But still looking definitely better than that performance against Glasgow in the opening round last year. Edinburgh defence so looking good as well. They managed to force Milne into touch as Leinster were looking to go wide. Leinster then continued to press, go to the corner from penalty, go to the maul, then set piece move where they go to the blind side out to Tommy O'Brien, but Edinburgh are wise to it. They force him into touch just short of the line. Then some great pressure from Edinburgh, force a Leinster error, and now they are getting a bit of territory, and they get rewarded at the scrum with a penalty. And it's their turn to go up the line. They go quickly from the line out and they get on the front foot. Ben Muncaster at 8. He's in there in place of the departed Bill Matta. Big shoes to fill, but this guy really had a great game, honestly. Carries well in this instance. They work it up to the Leinster line. Then they go wide and over to go in the corner, but it's ruled out for a forward pass. But they're not to be denied. We come back for a penalty. Pounding away at the line, and Schumann grounds on the line just next to the post. And then new fly half Thompson adds the extras for 7-0. I thought Thompson did really well actually while he was on the field. Clever kick then from Gibson Park, just goes over the try line for a dropout, but a few phases later then Leinster manufactures some space out wide. Ryan out to Tommy O'Brien, over he goes to score. Prendergast misses the touchline conversion at 7-5. O'Brien then injures himself, I think, in the act of scoring, so he's replaced by Rob Russell. Leinster with lots of territory, but errors creeping in now, leading to a lot of turnovers. And those errors, a lot of them, are coming because of that pressure that Edinburgh are putting on in defence. And, you feel though that, there is a score coming if they can, just kind of cut things out a little bit, but it actually turns out that their next score comes from one of their errors. So, loose ball is nudged forward by Ryan's foot mistakenly, and Edinburgh get the ball and they go for an up and under, but then Charlie Tector actually claims that, sells a dummy to Ali Price, and over he goes to score his first try for Leinster. And it seems like, forever that Tector has been touted as the next big thing for Leinster, coming through the youth setup there, that there's always been this tag on him, right, that he's gonna be something special. And it's great just to see him now, great performance today. And hopefully he can double his number of URC appearances overall this season, because I think he's just into double figures, so hopefully this season he alone he'll get into double figures, and that's really going to help him in terms of his development. Pretty sure he's gonna, like, if he's fit, he's going to end up going on the South Africa tour, because that seems to be the way that Leinster do things. But yeah, it's just nice to see him starting to fulfill his potential. Still a long way to go from, obviously, we've seen a lot of players come into the Leinster team and, impress for a few caps, but, if you don't keep doing it, if you get injured, there's somebody else that comes along and suddenly, you're yesterday's news. But today, really good from him. Prendergast then converts, we're at 12-7. Edinburgh then hit back not long after that, force a penalty advantage. Leinster holding them out on the edge of 22, but then Thompson with a lovely dummy kick beats a few Leinster defenders, gets in behind. They spin the ball out wide, and Duhan van der Merwe then finishes really well. Conversions missed, and we're tied up at 12 all. Kicks in behind from Leinster then, causing Edinburgh trouble all the time, and it's a tactic that they go back to again and again. First one leads to a charge down clearance that goes dead, and then the second one forces them to take it back over their own line, and it's a 5-minute scrum to Leinster. Leinster then from that pounding away at the Edinburgh line, but we're just in the stroke of half time. Jamie Ritchie, he gets over the ball and wins a penalty, and that's the end of the half. 12-all going into the break. Brilliant defence from Edinburgh there at the end, I felt, because we've seen so many times Leinster, they're able to produce that score just in the stroke of half time that suddenly, changes the whole complexion of the game, but Edinburgh were able to hold them out. Then it's Edinburgh, in the start of the second half who actually strike. So they go to the corner after Leinster pinged for offside from a knock-on. Great kick from Thompson to get them right in there, because he was kicking from around about halfway. Then they go to the catch and drive. Cherry to Sykes at the back, and then Cherry at the back of the maul as it rumbles over. He's the score. Thompson converts, and we're at 19 points to 12, and a really great start to the half for them. Leinster then batter their way forward again up to the Edinburgh line. Then lovely hands from Tector to Prendergast, and he puts Larmor over to score. Prendergast then squares it up with the extras for 19 points all. Cian Healy then comes on to equal Devin Toner's appearance record for Leinster, and I thought he did, for a guy who you feel like could easily just put his feet up and say, listen, I'm done. Such has been his, contribution to both Leinster and Ireland. I thought he still had, great impact when he come on there. Leinster, just about having the better of things in the scrum. It kind of went, both ways, but I think Leinster just about shaded it. But still, both replacement front rows had good impact for their respective teams, and I thought Edinburgh just about edged the line out. At crucial times, Leinster had a crooked throw and then one stolen against the head. Edinburgh's line out wasn't perfect, but I think on the base of things, again, it was very tight in the scrum, and Leinster just about shaded it. And I think you could say by the same margin, Edinburgh took the line out, but you could certainly argue either way it was that close. Leinster's bonus point try then comes from a move off the back of a scrum. Good go forward, Ringrose commits defenders, and then James Gibson Park snipes over to score. A couple of really impressive fends on his way to the line, one of them on Van der Merwe actually. That's converted for 26 points at 19. Another kick over the top, and over the Edinburgh defence into the 22 leads to a 5-metre attacking line out. Again, a great tactic from Leinster that Edinburgh found very hard to actually adjust to. And from here then, to go to the maul, shift the point of attack. Conan drives over to score. We do have a TMO check to see if there was any kind of obstruction in there. Referee is happy. Prendergast converts from 33 points to 19. Some daylight between the teams now. Edinburgh then force a penalty in the 22. They go to the corner, but for once that line out does malfunction, and eventually Leinster can clear, but it's only a temporary relief for them as back come Edinburgh. They go through the hands and they beat the Leinster drift to get it out to Duhan van der Merwe, who goes over for his second try and Edinburgh's bonus point try of the game. Healy comes close with the touchdown conversion, but it drifts wide at 33 points to 24. And in the end, that kick certainly was one of those that if it had gone over, they could have gotten a draw in the end. But again, I talk about these things, that when it's like that, if that kick goes over or not, you can't be guaranteed that the rest of the game is going to go the same way as it did. But Edinburgh then come forward. Stout defence from Leinster though is pushing them back. They try a drop goal through Healy, but it's charged down. Really were under a lot of pressure there, and it didn't feel like the right call. But they needed to try something. I thought that they would have been trying those kicks over the top as well, but maybe they didn't want to kick the ball back to Leinster with not too much time on the clock, but they get forced backwards again. Conan then goes off the back of a solid scrum into 22. Nice carry from him. Then to Ryan, who knocks on 5 metres out after a great hit from Muncaster. And I felt like Ryan didn't have the impact that you would expect him to have, being one of the senior players. There was a mix of senior players, and, kind of all shades really in terms of experience for Leinster. And I felt like he, as the leader in that second row there, he would have done better. Like, not saying he had a terrible game, but just that there were a few errors from him, that you'd hope he's kind of get out of his game. And his carrying, isn't as good as maybe it should be, I feel. And maybe that's something he needs to work on. But then Ross Byrne, then he's just on, he come on like on 8 minutes, I think, after Prendergast slotted that last conversion. So, but he gets a yellow card because he went up with Darcy Graham for high ball. Graham, won the contest, and it was felt that Ross Byrne played his arm from there, so he gets a yellow card. 10 minutes in the bin. Leinster going to finish with 14. There were some protests from Leinster about the decision. But for me, I thought it was pretty fair. Ben Healy then decides to go for the posts to try and make it a one-score game. With just a couple of minutes left on the clock now, he drills it low, but it's well off target to the left, and it really was very long on the angle. It was just inside the Leinster half and out, like on I think the 5 metre line. So a decent distance to go from there. We then have a stoppage for treatment to Muncaster, holding his side after a big hit, and hoping that it's not too serious. He did stay on the field, but yeah, hopefully it doesn't turn out that he did have something serious, because he had a seriously impressive game, honestly. Ben Healy then kicks a 50-22 attempt out on the full, and back we go. And you feel like that should be the game for Leinster now, but it's not the end of the scoring. First of all, there's a cross kick to Duhan van der Merwe that goes out in the full, and they're trying everything really to get the second bonus point. We then have a dummy throw from Leinster in the line out, and Edinburgh then strikes shortly after that. Ashman carries well, then Velicott gets in behind before putting Scott over to score. Healy converts, and it's 33 points to 31 at full time. So very entertaining game. Very lively crowd as well, and just a really brilliant game to kind of start the season off. For Edinburgh, I thought it was a great performance. Last season they probably would have fallen away, I felt, once they'd gone 2 scores behind. A lot of the time last year you saw heads going down in that kind of position, and especially against a team like Leinster. But they dug in, and they came back, and they got those couple of bonus points. Toss Schumann, Muncaster, Ritchie, Tuipulotu and Thompson were kind of the standouts for me, but there was a lot of good performances through the team. I thought Darcy Graham was a little bit quiet on the wing, but the guy is coming back from injury, so it may take him a while, and he didn't really get too many chances in clear space really to show what he could do. Leinster get off the mark with a win and avoid a repeat of last season, where they lost the opening game to a Scottish team, where they lost to Glasgow last year. Prendergast went well at 10. Gibson Park excellent. I thought Tector was good in the midfield, and then he had the experience of Ringrose there beside him as well. I thought Conan carried well. So some really good performances from them as well. I thought the back row went fairly well too, and then some of the subs that come on too, like the likes of Slimani, when he come on, had a decent impact. But I feel like for after this game, there was still work on. There's plenty for both teams to fix and get right as they go through the kind of the opening rounds of the season, but also plenty of positives from them to take from this. So that's pretty much the end of that one. Tomorrow, depending on timings of games. I'm going to try and cover at least one more game, and then on Monday, then we'll have that review of the entire round as well. But of all the games are going to be, especially for a curtain opener, you have to remember, you have to expect early on in the season there are going to be errors, but it was an exciting game. There was some real quality out there as well, and some really great performances. So if this is what we can expect from the rest of the season, I say bring it on.